There's no holiday break for the lawyers representing these two. Hello, my fam. It is Perez, the queen of all media, the original influencer, and your number one source for everything It Ends With Us saga. Literally moments ago, the legal team for accused racist Blake Lively submitted an explosive letter to the judge. Not only do they claim that Team Baldoni has lied, misrepresented, but Team Pinocchio alleges that they got this information from the investigators hired by Wayfarer Studios. Remember, as I shared with you all earlier this week, the lawyers for the F-list actress have been fighting to get documentation, to get materials regarding the investigation of sexual harassment. The Wayfarer parties have objected, and in a lot of back and forth, ending just yesterday, Team Baldoni said, not only is it privileged, not only is it work product, but we don't have it. We don't have anything. The investigators have not finished their investigating. Well, talk about an update. In the letter dated today, the Lively parties tell the judge they want some more time to reply to their motion against their motion to compel the investigation materials because, quote, less than 24 hours after Wayfarer filed its opposition on May 22nd, 2025, Miss Lively received correspondence from Wayfarer's investigators, Reynolds, Feldman, Luttrell, LLP, and Adam Investigations Counsel, directly undermining positions asserted by Wayfarer in its opposition with regard to production and application of the attorney-client privilege to materials responsive to Miss Lively's fourth set of requests for production, the investigation materials. Miss Lively's anticipated reply will address such inconsistencies and the material impact of the same on Miss Lively's motion to compel. Accordingly, Ms. Lively respectfully requests the court grant leave for her to file a 2-page letter brief in reply to the Wayfarer opposition. They included an exhibit to the judge that had way more details. So, the legal team for the shampoo company owner and Van Zandt CEO says to Judge Lyman, quote, in their opposition to Miss Lively's motion to compel, Wayfarer Studios and It Ends With Us Movie LLC represented to the court that the materials sought are outside their possession, as I told you earlier, that they take no position regarding application of the attorney-client privilege to those materials, and that the proper channel to obtain documents and witness recordings concerning its investigation into Miss Lively's sexual harassment and retaliation claims is by subpoena directly from the investigators. Yesterday afternoon, less than 24 hours later, Reynolds, Feldman, Luttrell, LLP, and Adam Investigations Counsel took the opposite position. In an email, the investigators reiterated their refusal to produce the investigation materials, invoking Wayfarer's attorney-client privilege, and encouraged Wayfarer to resolve the issue with Miss Lively directly. In other words, Wayfarer and its investigators are each refusing to produce relevant and responsive materials while pointing at the other to do so. They have created a perfect trap to prevent Miss Lively from obtaining information essential to her claims and defenses. Pause. If these independent investigators, who I think take their job seriously, they're lawyers and folks who do this full time, if they're not done Is she entitled to their piecemeal work? Is she entitled to what they have thus far? Because the actress soon to star in another simple extortion may use this piecemeal, incomplete gathering of interviews and investigating to form false notions of what has not been determined. You follow me? In today's letter, they continue. In that same correspondence, the investigators provided to Wayfarer and Miss Lively a purported privilege log, which provides 6 broad categories of documents, including various documents with third-party witnesses and or their counsel, as the grounds for withholding the investigators cite Wayfarer's attorney-client privilege, Wayfarer's work product, and or investigator's work product without providing any further information. The investigator's log, however, does not include a single date or identify any individual that sent, received, or created the withheld documents and communications. Here is what the log looks like. It's this is very generic. Sender recipient, document type. Yeah. That's what the independent investigators sent to Team Blake Smollett. And because of that, the attorneys for Dick Poole and his wife argue it is therefore wholly insufficient to enable Miss Lively or this court to evaluate whether the attorney-client privilege or other protection may apply. More importantly, the investigator log, such that it is, plainly undermines Wayfarer's position that it does not possess the investigation materials. Wayfarer clearly has some documents referenced on the investigator's log which appear to be directed to or provided by it to the investigators, or is withholding them for a reason it has not made clear. If it is because of privilege, it has not privileged a privileged log. Further, as the client, Wayfarer has possession, custody, or control of the investigator's documents as a matter of law. These files are plainly within Wayfarer's control and are fundamentally not privileged, and Wayfarer has failed to establish otherwise. Accordingly, Miss Lively respectfully requests that the requested documents, including all witness recordings, be produced. Meanwhile, over in Team Wayfarer Baldoni, they just filed a motion opposing his former publicist, Stephanie Jones, being dismissed from their separate lawsuit. It's very long, but I'll give you some quick highlights. Stephanie Jones claims that she was fired without cause as his publicist. Baldoni's lawyers say, Stephanie Jones did bad work. She can't be trusted. She breached the confidentiality agreement. She didn't listen to direction. She spoke to the press against his wishes. She took Jen Abel, his publicist who was fired by Stephanie Jones, who is still working with him, her phone and private texts and emails under false pretenses and illegally shared them with those monsters. Jones was not professional. Jones is very relevant to this lawsuit. Y'all better not dismiss her. That's basically the summary of that. And of course, they bring up the sham subpoena and the sham lawsuit, of which Stephanie Jones is a very relevant player in that. So, they oppose Stephanie Jones's motion to dismiss, and I propose that everybody just enjoy the holiday weekend. Thoughts on all that we've learned today? Let's discuss everything in the comments section.